Okay. I don't know if you can see it.
On the live on YouTube. Okay. So now will there be any audio weirdness if I like just like check to see?
Yeah, usually I try to check on my phone and turn off the volume.
Smart. Smart.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Um,
this would be on your channel on YouTube, right?
I'm gonna share the link now.
Okay, great, great.
For the
Great. Let me copy that. Cool.
Okay, and then I will also go to Facebook and share.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to send that to myself.
Yep, I see there's 2 watching. There are 2 people.
Okay, great. I'm trying to send this to
Could
myself.
be us. Oh, Benjamin Whiting is here.
Okay, great. I am going to share this link on the Facebook. And
Okay. And if you don't mind sending me your picture so I can put on the I can use as a thumbnail for
oh, sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. I can
Yeah,
totally.
you can send me anytime.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will send it
Doesn't
to you.
have to be right now. But yeah. Meanwhile, I'll share your website here.
Sure, great. I know it needs some updating. That's okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so
Great.
well, yeah, should we wait for a couple minutes or
Yeah, we can wait a few. I know I had some people who wanted to watch, and they weren't able to come in now, so they'll be watching later. So everything is kind of weirdly asynchronous. Nowadays you're teaching as well. I'm assuming, right?
right, right.
And do you have to teach everything as if the students were there and as if they're going to watch later on with little tutorials and everything?
Yeah, well, my classes are lessons and a studio class.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I actually teach lessons in person because, of course, all the students want to take the lesson in person.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and composition lessons, like I have a couple composition students, and that is very easy to teach online, but I think learning an instrument, I mean, so much more difficult to like get those skills across.
It is. And the other classes are kind of hybrid. I mean, it is hybrid.
Right, right.
So meet them online for twice a month, and then the other 2 weeks I meet them in person.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's reasonable. What else can you do? You got to find a way to like keep moving forward with life.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We do what we can do. So yeah, yeah, um, yeah. It's not ideal, but
No, but what is ideal right now,
that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can start
Yeah,
and
let's jump in.
yeah, yeah. So Okay, I think everybody saw your website enough.
I think that's enough. Need some updating.
um, so yeah, we can start, and thank you for being here and talking to me and talking to the audience here.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I think this is a fun project, and I like that it's kind of we have these other little stages of talking about all the bits of it and everybody showing their music and all that good stuff and hearing from you about the project, etc.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Well, certainly I'm having a lot of fun always doing this and doing the concert, of
Right?
course. So,
You're like a talk show host. It's great.
okay. Yeah, maybe second, maybe.
Exactly. If COVID-19 wipes out the musician jobs, you have a second career.
I have a second job, so I don't have to worry about it. Well, I wanted to ask you about this before we get into the piece
Sure,
and
sure.
have other pieces to introduce to us. You have this musical alter ego, and maybe you can tell us about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, so like my background is in rock music, and that's kind of I think where that partly comes from. So my alter ego, my name is Howie Kenty, but Hwarg, HWARG, is my alter ego musical sort of thing. And I guess it's when there's things that are maybe a certain level of abrasiveness or a certain texture of some kind, it seems more fitting to put out under that name. So I think there's another album coming up in the works, not anytime right yet, but pretty soon. A Hwarg album, and I have another collaborator, a countertenor, and we do sort of a countertenor Jue Chung Chun, who goes by Jue. So together we do a duo with I do electronics and he sings, and but it's also kind of performance art and multimedia. So we go by Jue and Hwarg, which sort of seems appropriate because it's a little kind of it's strange and avant-garde and kind of I don't know, somehow that just seems to work. Oh,
Cool.
well, also I can I guess I should tell you where the name came from because it's sort of a silly name. And it is, yeah. So it's not really a good story, and maybe it makes it sound sillier after I tell it. But when I was in college, we were making up pirate names for each other. And so my full name being Howard, it seemed appropriate to make the pirate name Howarg. But then it seemed maybe better to take out the O, just so that you'd have Hwarg. I like that, the aspirated W sound, so that's the story of it. Hwarg.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, a little bit more graceful than.
A little more graceful. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was wondering about that and wanted to ask.
Yeah, sure. Nope, totally a good question.
Um, but yeah, I got to listen to some of your music other than, of course, the new works that I
Mhm.
premiered. And I realized that there are really diverse styles that you present. And yeah, maybe, and also you play guitar in a rock band and you
That's true, yes.
rock music, which I actually listened to.
Uh-huh.
It was really cool, although I have no idea about rock music.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it's funny. We so the rock band that I'm in is called the Benzene Ring. And so we're mainly doing some recorded stuff now. And we used to play live more, and I think it was kind of frustrating for us because our music is almost a little more maybe artsy, and so we'd end up playing with like kind of bar bands and things like that. And I think it didn't really fit. But if we ever get back into playing live, so I think it would really make more sense almost in like a new music kind of context because it tends to be a little bit I don't know, it's rock music, but it's kind of like our songs are all 10 minutes long or 8 minutes long or something. And then like the whole last album was a big concept album with a whole big story I won't get into, but it's kind of like thinking about themes and form and all sorts of good stuff. So I think in a way, the textures are sort of different, but a lot of the same ideas that pop up in, certainly it's not only my music, it's, a lot of us that write it, but kind of come up in different ways, so I think there's a lot of cross-pollination, I guess I'd say.
Cool. Yeah. So, well, we can talk about the positive increase, and
Sure.
I think I can share the score here.
Great. Let's do it.
Yeah. So right here, the score, um, and it is pretty straightforward. And I think it's just really tells everybody what this is about. Almost immediately, considering what we are going.
I think it's pretty. I hope it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think so. When you had been commissioning these pieces and asked me to contribute something, I definitely, so the whole project that I think when you were first thinking about it was very COVID inspired, with these like stimulus check that you'd gotten, trying to find little mini commissions for a bunch of different composers to get works that were related to this. And one thing that I know we talked about a little bit last time, but it seemed like so many of the composers, when they talked about the pieces they made, kind of just had this sense of dealing with all of the craziness that's been happening and the claustrophobia and just, the very strange environment that we're finding ourselves in. I was particularly, just thinking about the coronavirus and like, how is this going to go forward, and how many people are going to die because of it, and how long will it go on for? How can we, find a way to sort of through all this stuff? The thing that struck me just was about the way that the US has been handling it, this idea that like the count sort of has these very the count of people who keep getting new cases every day, right? So that's the name of the piece, is called Positive Increase. And the name comes from a field in a data set put together by this group called the COVID Tracking Project. So they're a volunteer organization launched from the Atlantic, and I think a few other scientists who kind of got together and just wanted to make sure that they got the data out properly, because they didn't feel like it was necessarily being reported to us properly by the government agencies. So tracking this as accurately as possible from a number of different independent ways. And this, thinking about, okay, well, how do we make music out of that? I mean, it's kind of a strange thought, but, I think one of the things that just struck me from a very interesting, like, it's weird to talk about it in an aesthetic sense, but kind of like, how do we take this and what is going to be a field that could give us some kind of structure to a piece and give us like motion, and this positive increase, so this tracks cases from January 22nd through the end of August. And as I mentioned before, you were kind enough to we said that we were going to have the scores, I think, on August 10th or something, and I wanted to, and you were very willing to let me go until August 22nd to give us exactly 7 months of this, to be able to kind of track how the virus loads had increased. But it has these waves. It's like we'll see these increases that go down and up and down and up, and so the piece, I think, hopefully kind of builds that into it and uses the overall virus count of this time to sort of map to a number of different parameters, like dynamics, to form, to the pitches themselves, actually. So all the case numbers, when it goes from, if you go back up to like the first page there, yeah. So like our, I think it's a G, or is it a G sharp?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right. On the 22nd of January, we had no cases in this little, slow and steady quarter note of nothingness, staccato, and then we start getting just these little bits coming in, drips and drabs, and then it starts to like grow in ways that are tricky to predict, and now look where we are, beginning of a third wave, maybe.
Yeah.
So it seemed the perfect way to kind of express this. I think just the project, because it was coming from this idea of like the stimulus, thing, and just like, how are we dealing with this thing? It's kind of like this big raging, like a tsunami, just coming and smacking into all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I asked everybody and I wrote this email kind of talking about how I feel in general about the pandemic, which now I think about it, maybe it was a little bit silly, but
I don't, I think it's a fine, it's just processing, how do we process this?
yeah. But when I got the check, that really gave me mixed feeling about, this whole thing. One thing is about this pandemic, which that we just have no control over, just in general, worldwide. And probably the other was just, receiving this check from this government, right? And I'm not a US citizen, I'm still a Korean citizen, and I'm staying here with green card. But I felt like I live here for long enough time.
Sure.
And I didn't know what to do with it, in a way that, of course, I could just, put it in my bank account and forget about it. But it definitely had this feeling that I felt like people's life hasn't been taken serious enough since the pandemic started, and that we all realize how fragile it is, actually, the human life, and how little the government considers human life.
Yeah.
And then that I got this money from the government, because they have to give you this money so they can the economy goes well, and not well, but at least it runs. And just this feeling of being some kind of machine, not a human being or person.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I could totally see that. I think, the way it's also kind of been apportioned out, it's ended up being a very political thing too, so we look at like, how are the political machines moving, and how much do the politicians want to give out to make sure they get reelected, but how much do they, also, it's very complicated. I think the machine analogy is a pretty good one for it.
Yeah. So the best thing I think I could do was, well, let's invest in music. And
I like that. That's great.
So
well, I mean, it's crazy because, just think of like, I happen to be in a very fortunate position in that, I'm able to teach and you're able to teach, so there are a number of us who are pretty fortunate in that way. But so many musicians, I know it's just, around March 13th or whatever, around that date, it was just all the gigs just went away, and now we have the New York Phil's not going to be doing anything this season. Broadway is probably not going to open up until, a year from now. I mean, it's just so many people are, out. And I don't think I think for a number of industries that may not be a thing that they really know about, but, thinking about the theater industry, the music industry, anything that depends on people gathering in a live space, where we can't have those experiences anymore. So many people are just, what's going to happen,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this piece is not the first political piece for you, right? You had written pieces that had strong messages, and it's intense music, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, so I have since late, I guess, 2016, when Donald Trump got elected, certainly it spurred me a lot to think about like, how do we respond to this? And it's tricky because I think political music is what's the point of it? Like, is it to get a cathartic kind of scream out, or is it possible to actually like affect any kind of change? Can you change anybody's mind with it? I don't know about that. I think that it may not necessarily be possible, but we can, at least try to process our own feelings about it and maybe hopefully speak to other people who are feeling the same way through the music. And I guess if it's doing a good job, it does present something that hopefully is truthful in some sense. So yeah, so I've written a number of pieces since then, and they kind of take different tacks, right? So I mean, I don't know, would we call positive increase, which is about the increase of the coronavirus in the United States, a political piece? Like, kind of, it is and it isn't. I mean, it's in some way about how we're dealing with it personally, but also at the same time, there's an unavoidable political aspect of how it's being handled by the government. So I've tried to take different kind of tacks on it. Some are like a little more overtly political, others are maybe a little more subtly political, that kind of thing. So yeah, I can actually share. Maybe I'll play it first, and then we could talk about it a little bit. I guess I'll just say, okay, so I will share. This piece is called "Everybody Loves Me." And so this is me performing with the great percussionist Daniel Pate, who commissioned it. And so this is written in 2017, and we did it later that year. And then this performance is from the New Music Gathering. What I will say is that, I guess I'll just say this before we start it, is that it's all direct quotes, kind of sequenced together to form a narrative. And I'll play it and then maybe say a little more about it. So let me share here. Yeah, so this is from a live performance at the New Music Gathering in 2018.
I was with everybody. Everybody loved me. I was with everybody. Everybody loved me. When I called them, they always treated me well. I could have gotten anything from anybody. I get along with everybody. People love me. I've been very successful. Everybody loves me. You can do anything. When you're a star, they let you do it. You're a star, 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 you're a star. A lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. Bad things are happening out there. Some bad people. Bad. Some of them are such lying, disgusted people. I do hate them. I'll be honest. I would never kill them. I would never do that. I would never do that. I get along with everybody! Ah! Everybody loved me! I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. And I wouldn't lose any voters. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters. I could shoot somebody, I could shoot somebody. Disgusting people. They let you do it. Everybody loves me. People love me. Everybody loves me. I do hate them! Look at the way I've been treated lately. Look at the way I've been treated lately. Lying, disgusting people. they will be met with fire and fury, like the world has never seen. With fire and fury, like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. Everybody loves me. Like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. Everybody loves me. Like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. Everybody loves me. Like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. Everybody loves me. Like the world has never seen. Everybody loves me. You can do anything when you're a star. They let you do it. 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 They let you do it.
All right, so I'll stop that there. Yeah, so thank you. So yeah, this piece is kind of funny. So when I made this piece, I mean, I find Donald Trump like fascinating. He's such a weird anomaly. He's such a weird person. So these are obviously all quotes of his. And to me, what I really wanted to express was kind of how like needy he is. He needs to be seen and he needs to be admired, and how that translates into kind of the violence that he evokes in people. You know, but then it's really hard. Like, how do you write a piece about Donald Trump? So I don't know. So I wanted to use only his own quotes, like nothing. I mean, you know, certainly they are arranged in a certain narrative, but they're all things that he has said. It's actually funny because, you know, talking to some people about it, I've never talked to anybody who's genuinely pro-Trump about it. So I'm not sure how they feel about it. But I did have some people who were like, hey man, you know, after seeing that, I really feel like you almost could take it either way and be like, if you liked him, you'd be like 4 more years. If you didn't like him, you're like, oh my God, how horrible. You know, so I think getting to it's not the first piece in which I have been a Trump surrogate on stage. You know, I think it is what must it be like to be him. He's probably just feels like he's on top of the moon all the time, but almost like always in danger of falling off. You know, because it's built on this illusion of I don't know, just grandeur. So yeah, and I guess also then so how do you take it make it sort of the most truthful thing? So all the things are quotes. The vocal melodies are pretty much all derived from the way that he spoke the words. So I sort of basically transcribe these words. All the little percussion gestures are transcriptions of his words as well, like how they fell, their cadences. He has these. I mean, his speech is just it's great. He's very sort of musical the way he talks. His rhythms are great. So like transcribing all that was just a ton of fun. And yeah, so that's what came out.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece and very cool. For me, I mean, I felt it was the percussion is so cool, and I think there's percussion professor here, Bob McCormick, and I think he would agree with me.
Oh, sure. Well, what's the weird thing about this is that, okay, so now we're at another election, and it's like for I would love to have this piece not need to be played anymore, because then like he's done. But so if he is elected again, the piece gets another 4 more years. So what's also funny, so this piece is called Everybody Loves Me. It happens that not too long ago, he had a quote where he was talking about how he said the perfect phrase. He was talking about how everybody was not happy about his handling of the coronavirus. And he said, nobody likes me, so I kind of wanted to make a little second piece. Everybody loves me and nobody likes me. So a little thing. Haven't had time to yet, but we'll see if there's a need for it soon,
I think it's still timely. Even, I mean, we hope that he's not gonna be really elected.
Right. But you think it's still even after he's out?
Even if he's not, I think because when you think about it, the last word that you end with was "they let me do it," and
Right.
that's really haunting.
Yeah.
I think it can be about any power actually that if
Mhm.
we don't put a stop to it, basically we're letting the person do it. So
Yeah.
and I think it's timely. So I think
Yeah.
so.
And actually, I did have a couple of people who, when they watched me perform it, they were like, I didn't actually even realize it was specifically quotes from him until like halfway through when they became a little more recognizable. And I did want to make it kind of universal in some sense where, these words are his, but they could be taken to be anything. So I'm glad that you felt that way about that.
Yeah.
I mean, and also he definitely is not going anywhere, regardless of whether he's president or not. He's probably going to have a media empire, and who knows? Good luck, Donald Trump. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, so that's I mean, and obviously you can kind of see like the kind of rockness of it. You have the percussion, which gets to be pretty intense toward the end, and kind of this all the electronics are done live, so it like can be a little bit different each time depending on what
yeah,
goes into it. So
cool. Really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a fun one. We'll get people motivated, to go out and vote, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you have other pieces also, and I think they're that I listened to the pieces you sent me, and they're very different from this one.
Yeah. So I'll play one. So yeah, different kind of sonically, but also kind of how I wanted to kind of approach whatever issues the pieces are tackling. So the next piece I'll play is it was written for a group called F Plus. F Plus is a trio. So this piece is for Kate Dreyfus is on violin, Josh Graham is on vibraphone, and Andy Hudson is on bass clarinet. And then they're also all singing. So I wanted to so this piece is called Horror Scene. And what I kind of wanted to this was written in 2018, so a little bit later, and I kind of just wanted to express the whole idea of like how this administration was sort of just making the whole I was envisioning this as kind of like a horror movie, right? And so like how do we what if we visualize this as sort of like a horror movie in which, you know, people are sort of turning into monsters, and you know, this whole thing just kind of keeps unfolding in this awful way. So so this has words that I had written myself, but often they're kind of quotes. Some of them are like biblical quotes that are like a little turned around. Others are sort of dealing with like horror movie tropes. So the instrumentalists are all singing, and which they were very game for, which I was very happy about. And you know, they are not trained singers, but I think they did a great job of it. And I actually really like, you know, as you can probably tell, I am not a trained singer in any way, but I like kind of the rawness that you can get when you know, make somebody do something they're like not quite like, you know, as comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah. So you know, the energy that they brought to it was really, really great. So yeah, so this piece a little bit different in style, just the trio, no electronics. And so this is from a performance at Stony Brook, and they did a great job. This is the premiere performance, and the audio isn't as great, but I just really love the performance and the energy they brought to it. So I will share this. So this is Horror Scene by F+. All right, if I can make it big, get out of my way. No, get out of my way. No, I just want to make you big. Let's see. Oh, Facebook. There we go. Great. I think it's queued up.
A choice. Which is your true and 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 which is your true
Yeah, so those folks, I think I was just so happy with the job they did because there's a certain amount of theatricality I think involved in all this stuff, so you gotta sell it, and they really dove into it and were so great to work with, and we're very excited to do all of the singing and all the different bits. I guess I should mention, so the piece is called Horror Scene, and I am a big horror movie fan. So trying to write music that was kind of evocative of a horror movie soundtrack in some sense, which I hope comes through. Um, yeah, but sort of a more indirect take maybe on some of the political stuff going on. I think there's another interesting thing, which is, do we have to have words for a piece to be political? Um, is there a way to get across a message in some sense without speaking or singing? And I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit trickier that way. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, also thought that it could be, using voice, or if I have to play a piece and then I have to use my voice or do something else. Or when I listen to those pieces, to me, it's very effective or it's kind of distracting. Um,
Yes, I
yeah,
think I think it totally can go either way. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's something about, as a composer or a performer, you're always trying to draw your audience in some way, right? So how do we find a way to kind of make things jump out a little bit? How do we find a way to, whether it's maybe a special technique or just a kind of unsettling atmosphere or whatever it is about it? Your audience is always coming at it with their whole day that they've had before them. They like maybe they were late for the train and they had to rush and their headspace is over here, so they're thinking about something else entirely. How do you take them and grab them a little bit? And I think having singing in a way is kind of one of those techniques that you can use to do it. There are other ways to grab people, but you just want to find something to let them latch onto. I think people do tend to gravitate toward the voice in a way. Whether it's obviously a lot of so much of the music that we would do in a contemporary musical world would be instrumental. I think that it's easier for us to get into any kind of music, but people oftentimes who are coming at it with something, maybe you have people who haven't heard this kind of music before, so maybe there's something we can do to kind of give them an entryway into it. And so how do we accomplish that? And I think words are one way to do that. It can happen other ways, but that's been one of the things. It's sort of a entry point for delivering or at least exploring a message, and also just to help kind of people somehow find a way into the piece. I will play now. I don't want to play too much here. Do we have enough time that I could play one more piece in addition to our positive increase piece?
I think so. I mean, I think, yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will close this. So I wanted to play one more piece that's sort of maybe a little more indirectly political. And this is a piece called Futility. And so this is for the Flauta De Morae project. So this is two good friends, Ginevra Petrucci and Nathan Hudson. So Ginevra has a very unusual flute. So the two of them have organized this project here. And so they'll work with a bunch of different composers. But it's centered around this flute that Ginevra plays, called the Flauta De Morae, which is something that her father had played. It's a very unusual flute. It's in A, which is, most flutes are not, either in C or, alto flute, something like that. So this flute is very unusual. She has pretty much the only like working really extra fancy copy of this flute on the planet. So they're building up a repertoire for this group. So when they had asked me to write some music, we had a couple different options for this particular configuration. For this group, we had the option to use the Flauta de Morae solo, or with some subset of strings, violin, viola, cello, bass, one person each, and then also electronics. So me being someone who I tend to get a little ambitious sometimes in different ways. I used all of those things. So electronics, we have 4 strings plus the Flauta de Morae. So this piece, Futility, I guess maybe it's not directly political, but it is sort of maybe a comment on some of the trends that we're seeing, and sort of just um, some of the electronics is processing on the flute, so you can hear kind of like it's maybe a little subtle, but it comes out in um, ways that sort of extend the flute in some ways. And the other part of the electronics that we hear is this kind of creeping static, right? So it's sort of almost like this metaphorical darkness maybe creeping in at different times. And really this piece, I don't actually have a video for this, so it's just audio. So this idea of darkness and futility, and sometimes even when we're doing everything right, we have to face all these things that seem like they're incredibly difficult to overcome. So if people feel like doing so, they can maybe just even listen and close their eyes while they play, while it plays. All right, so let me share this. So this is Futility by the Flauta De Morae project from a concert earlier this year, actually not too long before our whole country closed down, just in beginning of February of this year. So yeah, one of the last live ones. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, so very different kind of, I don't know, been kind of a bleak year, I guess. So let's reflect that in the music. Hopefully we're trending upward. We'll see how this goes at the end of the year, but
Well,
yeah.
beautiful piece.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think they did a great job with it. It's such a pleasure to work with performers who just, you have an idea, and once you have the piece and it leaves you, you just have to trust them to do it. And when they just do it and it comes out in a great way, even if it's like, sometimes it's exactly what you thought it was going to be. Sometimes they surprise you by doing something that's even better than what you thought it was going to be. It's just like it's a fun experience.
Cool. Yeah, well, I mean, we can quickly share the positive increase.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, and I was so excited, just when we started working together, because we talked over the phone, and you had sent me a little demo recording of it, and I was so excited. You just you got the vibe of it, and it's exactly what I was thinking for it. So I was very pleased.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should I share or you?
I'll let you do it if you have it
Okay,
loaded up.
let's see. I think here it is.
Great.
Yep. Trying to move this and
Technology.
yes.
The 22nd. February.
Okay, sorry that I think I made a mistake not clicking share computer sound. And
No, we maybe it was playing through the speakers or something.
yeah, so
Okay, great.
sorry, I'm gonna do it again.
Oh, it's fine.
Not this. That was previous one. Let's see.
That's better.
Okay, great. All right.
February.
woo, woo.
Okay.
I love that performance. No, it's great. You brought out so many things from it. I mean, it's, it's kind of straight numbers. Those numbers are like how many people had the coronavirus that day, but it really became so expressive the way you brought it out. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was really fun, and I think I heard ice cream truck.
At the they're everywhere. What are you gonna do?
But yeah, it was really cool, and it's kind of giving me structure when I speak each month, so
Right.
it helped me that way. But yeah, a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, what's funny about it is every time I hear it, it strikes me how kind of weirdly jazzy the harmonies are, which is just that's not me. That's just the data. I mean, certainly you can uh, fix how you put it out there, but it's like the data wants to be kind of like Scriabin or I don't know Satie kind of in its something, but it's sort of yeah, just came out that way.
Yeah. Well, I will see if there's any question before we close this evening.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think my YouTube thing kind of hitched and hasn't done anything for a little bit.
Yeah. Any questions for us in the chat? It has this 10 seconds delay, so.
Oh, yeah. I noticed it's a little behind.
Yeah. But I actually love the months of May.
The May.
Yeah.
What about May in particular?
I don't know. I feel like it's dreamy, and then before you go and crash in
right into June and July. Yeah, I'm partial to June myself, but
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's wonderful presentation, and
yeah, I don't think we have any questions, but that's fine. I feel like I've talked a lot anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and hopefully we can have better days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Positive outlook. We're 2 weeks away. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope that Everybody Loves Me will still be performed no matter what.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Eunmi, this has been such a fun experience. It's been a really fun time just getting to kind of talk and discuss everything with you. It's been really good to be able to share and just have a kind of informal, cool setting like this for it. So thank you very much for arranging this.
Well, thank you, and